What's up, guys? So, went riding, came back from a pretty rainy ride, had water dropping off my beanbag. It was that rainy. Anyways, the steering stem bearing, I don't know if the camera will record it, but I mean, it's starting to get gritty. On the steering stem bearing, for those of you who don't know, is the bearing that's right here, and there's also one under here that needs to be greased and taken care of. We might have to replace these ones, we'll find out. But if not, I'll show you how to re-grease them. First thing you want to do, get yourself a Sharpie. I've already done this. I don't know if you can see that right there, that little black mark right here. So you just mark the positions where your triple clamp meets up on your fork here. And I also use these calipers right here to measure the height distance right here on the right and left. And I wrote that down right over here where this bike's at. See, the right one was 9.06 millimeters, and it was 7.9. Anyways, so after you've marked that, you want to take the wheel off. I'll put you up on the tripod here and you can see us go through it, but I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. You're gonna take the wheel off, take this off, loosen these nuts, slide out your forks, and you're gonna come up on top, get rid of these, or take those bolts out, get the handlebars off. I've loosened this already, but you'll take this off, and this part of the triple clamp will come off, and then you've got this spanner nut down here that if you don't have a spanner wrench, you can just use, most people will use, flathead screwdriver, and just kind of pound it out very carefully. And then this dust seal will come off. Well, at that point, I'll pull you over and see what we're looking at. The dust seal. What? Okay, so this is the lower bearing I was telling you about. It looks dirty. We'll see if that's rust or just dirt that's up in there. But anyways, let's go take a look at the top one. Right, here's the top one. Let's see, there it is. Ooh, I'm not sure, guys. I might have to replace these. They look dirty. See down in there? Yeah. See the pitting? I think I might have to do it. Let's clean that out and see what it looks like. Yep, so this is the race right here. So if I do decide, yeah, it's kind of gritty there, I'll probably have to replace it. Yeah. I measured them too with the calipers and wrote it right there. Like, you know, the distance from here to the top.
Oh, this?
Yeah, that's one way to do it too. Because when you're putting them in, you might not be able to see the lines very well. So I did it both ways. And then down here, there's the race down there. All right, day 2. We stopped on the steering stem bearings because it was a pain in the... Anyways, look at Jared. He looks all sexy with his new haircut. Anyways, so I got this one out already. We got a new tool. Actually, Jared's holding it. Who makes that? Motion Pro?
Motion Pro.
Yeah, Motion Pro.
Motion
It's
Pro.
a steering's, a race remover. That's what we're having issues with. So here's Jared's. We're going to show you how to use it real quick. It's still in there. We tried the old chiseling technique with these screwdrivers. I don't know if you can see those heads, but they are jacked up because those things are in there. And this is what it looks like when you get them out. So this is the race. As you can tell, it didn't do anything to that head. So this is some real heavy duty, strong steel. So Jared's going to show you how this tool works, so you're not having to try to hammer these out through the bottom up in here.
So this is the stem remover piece. So what's going to happen is this little lip right here is going to go on the inside right here
Of the race.
And what's going to happen is once you screw this down, this piece will widen out to grip onto here. So however wide your thing is, this will widen out. You can see the rubber bands, it's expanding it. So we'll get to it right now. So what I'm doing is I'm just putting that lip on one side, and then I'll just hold it there, and I'll just keep twisting this. Okay, until it's pretty snug. So it's pretty snug. If you look, the gaps on this opened up, so it's expanding.
Yeah, and then when you tighten down that nut, it'll pull it out.
You'll have this piece, throw it right over. It sits right on top of this frame. Screw this on. Boom. And then you screw this down, and that's gonna push it up and remove it.
Pull the race out. They're over there by the vise.
Grab your wrench.
I'll get on this side here.
Keep tightening it. Oh man, it's moving it. So I don't know if you can tell.
Yeah.
It's right in there.
Just keep going, see if we can get it through that window. Yeah, you can see it coming. See it coming up. We spent, what, probably good 3 hours trying to chisel those things out. It's out. Just pull the whole thing out. There it is.
Boom.
Look how easy that was. Look at that.
Our WD-40 that we put in there to get it freaking lubed.
Sweet. All right. I'll stop the video and we'll go do the other one. What is that? Alright. I apologize. I live next to a busy road for the noises. So we just got the steering stem, the race out. Now we're cleaning this up and we're going to put the new race in and all the bearings. And we're going to be over Jared's bike. I'll be on the other side working on mine. Hey guys, sorry we forgot to explain what we were doing. So what Jared's doing here is he's taking that 2x4 and he's getting that race seated in the frame by tapping it around the edges. When you're putting that race in, you want to make sure that the thicker end's facing down and the thinner end is up. If that makes sense. That way the bearing can fit in that conical section just right. Anyways, once that race is flush to the frame, you're going to take the old race that was taken out, flip it around, and you're going to use the hammer to drive it the rest of the way. You'll know that it's fully seated when the hammer bounces back, and it also makes a different sound when the hammer hits it. You also see grease come out the bottom of the race where you've put grease on it, and there should be no lip or gap in between that frame. Anyways, sorry about that. I'll let you get back to it. Alright, so I forgot to explain what I was doing here. So your new bearings typically don't come greased, so I'm just showing you how to grease a bearing for those of you that don't know how. You just take a glob of grease, get the bearing, and that motion I'm doing is I'm trying to shove the grease up underneath those rollers. And you just keep working it around until you've gotten all the way around the bearing. And if you've done it properly, you'll see grease start coming out the top of the bearing as you're doing so. So yeah, you'll need to grease both the top and bottom bearing before you put them in the races in the steering stem. About the right length when it's cold out of the freezer.
Yeah, it would be, huh?
Not right. I wish it was that long when it was cold.
Woohoo!
Hey guys, we forgot to talk about what we were doing. It was a late night. Anyways, so what you're going to want to do is get your steering stem. I put mine in the freezer. You don't have to. That's what you heard me pulling it out. It was cold. You'll grease up the bottom of the steering stem like so. Once it's greased, you'll put the dust cover on. That's the first thing that goes on, and then you'll put the actual bearing itself. Now, when you're putting the bearing on, you'll want the wider end or the bigger side facing down and the smaller side facing up, because that's what's going to go in the race. You'll see. Just pay attention when I put it on. Once it's on, you'll take we got a tool for it. It's a tusk driving tool. It's basically a pipe that has different collet sizes you can put on to drive it all the way down. You'll know that it's seated just like the race. You'll have an audible sound difference. You'll be a little bit more blowback on the hammer, and grease will spit out the bottom. And I'll show you what it looks like once it's on there all the way. We also forgot to mention how to take it off. We just took a chisel and got behind the bearing and chiseled it off. That's one method of doing it. They have tools for it. If we do it again, we'll probably get a tool because it's a heck of a lot easier. But anyways, I'll go ahead and show you what it looks like once it's on. Hey guys, so yeah, Jared's just putting a little extra grease on his bearings and on his steering stem before he installs it. So yeah, you'll just kind of put it together the reverse of how you took it apart. Just slide it up and in there, make sure your bearing's in the top. Put your dust cover, there's a small washer, and then you'll put that castle nut on top.
Typically you'll want to tighten it kind of tight, move the steering around a little bit, then loosen it up and tighten it to about 5 foot-pounds or hand tight. Then you'll put the top part of your triple clamp on, and then on top of that there'll be a thicker washer and then that last nut up there. We didn't show you, but you want to tighten that nut to about 90 foot-pounds, or according to the manual, whatever your manual says. And then it's just putting the bike together after that, putting your forks and wheels and all that on.
So It's day 3. I forgot to show you guys the finished product after we put the steering stem all together. So let me flip you around and you guys can see that. Holy shit. All right, we're still working on Jared's bike. As you can tell, it's disassembled. We're working on his timing and shimming up his valves. But anyways, mine's done. Well, his is done too. So this was his. Let's see if I can zoom out here. So this feels a heck of a lot better than what it was. And mine's a lot better. I don't know if you saw in the beginning of the video, but it would stop. I think it's a little too loose. I might have to adjust it, but it's a lot smoother. Yep, down in there. Good to go.